Lá me dhéad dhéana days an an SWPL hu na seo ag Park Petershill an the Balla Glasgow. Celtic a click of Rangers agus híisiú thula brép dhéanamháil. Bhá seo é BBC Alapa. Hello, Carson, agus fáilte go an lá me dhéad dhéana an SWPL hu na dú ar son ar darna game é BBC Alapa face go dú. Is apar game a hacan gaibh cúteach Celtic a clichiil Rangers go leor a crochuch mar a sábhas na the G se seo a canichuch. Agus mé tolit se fáilte na se chu déad ar neolaliche a bhíos calling in the Nesco show. Emma Black. Emma, thank you for joining us here once again. Petershill Park, Celtic against Rangers, and well, even though there's maybe not an awful lot to play for in terms of league positionings, in this game, there's always a lot to play for when these two come against each other.
Of course there is. It's an old firm. For Rangers, you know, they want to maintain that unbeaten run. They want to be and have that invincible season.
Talk to me about that invincible tag. I mean, what an achievement that would be to Rangers. It would really cap off what's been a fantastic season.
Oh, they've been incredible this season. They know they've been relentless from the get-go, and you know that was their aim at the beginning of the season. They knew they were under pressure to perform. They knew they were under pressure to get their hands on that league title, and they've matched that.
Looking then at the league table, just to remind all of viewers of how it's looking at the moment, and well, it's maybe not great reading for Celtic, but these two sides have played each other 5 times. This will be the 5th time they've played each other this season. They've both won twice. There's not actually that much between these two sides on the pitch, is there?
No, there's not, and I think if you look at the other games that Celtic have dropped points, you know, they've dropped points against Spartans, they've dropped points against Hibs, so that's obviously had then a huge impact in their finishing of the league title this season, and they'll go away and obviously reevaluate that. They'll look at what they could have done better this season, but given the games against the top 2 teams, it has been narrowly close.
Yeah, and see, these games for Rangers this season, I mean, that's where the improvement has been for them, isn't it? I mean, last season they only won 1 out of 6 against Glasgow City and Celtic. This season they've done far better than that. So that's the difference for them this season, isn't it?
Of course it is. It's came down to the big games, and you know, and Rangers have stepped up. As I said, they've been relentless. They've been consistent in the big games, and it's their mindset have changed also. You know, there's that group of players in that change room. They had a full season of being professional, and then when you add the value of like Jane Ross, Medag into the squad, that's helped them tremendously well.
Looking then, Celtic, obviously they have had some success this season themselves, 1 trophy, potentially another one at the end of the month. Do you think that will make up for them missing out on Champions League football?
I think there'll be mixed emotions. I think if you'd asked the players and the girls in that changing room, would they rather have 2 league cup winners and then a Scottish Cup or Champions League? I think there would be a mixed emotions. I think there'd be still a few players that would want to play Champions League football, of course.
Thank you very much, Emma. We'll hear more from you, of course, throughout the game in commentary. Agus well, becan up trai who's measure graimid gach manager, agus Sean a hurch at the Malky Thompson, ag Rangers, Akadoshach, Fran Alonso, ag Celtic. Fran, final game of the league season here today. You're playing Rangers, the 5th time you've played them this season. How are you preparing for this one today?
Well, with a lot of enthusiasm. We have a good week. Of course, we got a little disadvantage in terms of we play Wednesday, and obviously Rangers got the whole week. But we are really motivated, and obviously the previous 4 games was 2 wins for us, 2 wins for them. So today is quite important for us to try to get this win. But obviously they are unbeaten in the league, and we know it's going to be a very, very tough challenge to try to beat them.
Oh, you mentioned there about them going unbeaten potentially this league season. Is that an added incentive for you today to inflict some end of season pain to them potentially?
I wouldn't focus on them. That's up to them, but I definitely want to finish the league with a win. We went for a strong team. We could potentially save the legs of our players, considering that in 2 weeks we got one of the most important games, if not the most, in our history. But we are going for a strong team because just obviously respect of the competition, respect of our fans, and we want.
Malky, the last time I spoke to you, you were just about to lift the league title. What has the last 7 days been like for you and your players?
It's been great. It's been a lot of attention been put on us, a lot of adulation been put on the players, and deservedly so. I think they've worked ever so hard to eventually win that championship.
If you avoid defeat here today, you can go unbeaten for the season. Would that be the cherry on top of the cake for you?
Well, I think that's one of our key objectives at the start of the season. Any campaign that we try and compete and play in every game to win. So nothing will change. Nothing will change come today's game.
It's not necessarily anything to play for in terms of league positionings today here. You've already secured Champions League football, the league. How do you ensure that there's no complacency creeping into your side?
Well, it's professionalism. The girls have shown right from the start of the campaign, first game of the season right through, that their attention to detail and their commitment to the club's been there. So nothing will change in that respect. And they know that. They know what it's about at Rangers Football Club. It's about competing in every game properly.
Malky Thompson agus Fran Alonso an hen. Het wielend hasjachet game more in Jeske de show. Derby Glasgow at the Celtic agus Rangers as a game of Migidug to season SWPL hun. Agus show Suler and the skippy in Maha. Agus Fran Alonso daar who gehorst de skipper Mario Grosso taking the binge. Jacinta macht squad Uluk Leed van de skipper a horse in my heart. Jack the Naatje ha Chloe Craig agus Jody Bartle in Immel Nepatke. A Shach in Fosh the Viek Rangers had the 3 clitter naar van de game in Glasgow City. Tessel Middag, Sam Kerr agus Lizzie Arnott to Kim Mach. Kira Grant, Chelsea Cornet agus Emma Watson, the Torshu in the Naatje. In the Bingenden, Natalie Ross, Handikisha for the Vinga and the Hart to me and the Shachkin. The Rangers, Emma Brownlee, agus Yanni Art, and the clitter in the Sjoliche, the skipper Malky Thompson. Right, due Gary Handvidge agus Eshing a fein taithgid clia in the path of Seamus McCluskey agus Lachlan Dougal agus Sean Murdoch in Gerib Officarakin. Game of Migidug on the season SWPL hun maha. Da goed Celtic agus Rangers a cliché Sean Prosh. A Kutjach, Sean Ruttenevarach. Rangers a gamas of the league chriach as soon as game a chal Celtic gamas of the team Ullach agus Hoshach game more. Aan de koep in Halpen like Glasgow City gaan collegiek. Zijn de klicht daar in de krommige ding gewoon. Agus Charlie Wellings gaat kuch getal. Is de jeme met jeder in het hezen. Agus Celtic is net eentje na avondje hakken. Che game hakken ik te je hand get naar Hitchings naar 3 du. Ik paasje Peter Hill aan de Kennel 2 Glasgow. Shen is daar heeft gewel Irdrionians agus Queen's Park. Een klichtje is een R3 agus Miel na jachke uit Queen's Park. Head Archie Iglee is a championship in the Nahesan. This Celtic at all no in a kuya on the hill. It's our Craig, a Bishop Shears and Yimmel. Nationist go Wellings, tuned the snasser. Chance, Shachko Wellings and Estia. Oh, die dag nach doet. Mengu, Chen Dio, Train, go. Charlie Wellings at the Ish. And some Tully Rakwell. Spionnig aan de kassen, gach skippen. Hughes get nach bier Kyle de Jane, who've aardig de league. Nestje, Rangers a good Kutjever Celtic, in de dash Nesh got Johnston. Is de bier gemaakt bij Hayes. Is Merach aan de hand van Harks. Vance, die doet ook er wel. Hey. Dash Nestje got Doherty. Celtic in a mountain hen. Shorts got wall far. Still making a Chelsea corner to answer. Shen cutting well. The Emma Black has not good the Swedish called them. Emma, thanks again for joining us. It's difficult to believe that we're at this stage of the season.
Yeah, I think it's went in so quickly, hasn't it? It's been a very competitive season at that, and it's one that we expected it to happen like this. You know, you had the top 3 fighting it out for the obviously the league title and then the second Champions League spot, and it's almost came down to the very last couple of games.
Ja, Celtic is toch zo gediest. Harks, vier niet fijn is Falavo, Kirsten Riley. Just pikken een varach kuunje. Ik short to the valve on the hen. Skip even in maken nestje. Clark. Go Craig. Kies toch eens Jaldig aan de skipper Celtic. Doherty dat she is voor you see wat Chloe Craig. I guess Kavak is Nicola Doherty. Gelukkig aan de Hoosje gediest. And Emma, it's been a lively start to this game as well. Celtic playing against the wind, and that could have an effect in this first half.
Yeah, I think it will, and I think the way Celtic have played all season, including today, you know, they've got their back three in place, and they want the back three to come out at times and break those lines and try and get the ball into midfield. And obviously it'll be difficult with the wind, but not just that. I think the dimensions of the pitch, I think I recall Fran saying as the season went on that he didn't really particularly like playing at this pitch due to the dimensions and the style of play, and particularly the formation that Celtic play. So it'll be interesting today to see how the game goes.
Gyda ha, bigant the gw yn mochgwch, a sy'n cymryd o'r dwi'n meddwl. Iawn dwi'n glas ho, fath Peter Sil. Stiach yn y foxes, efo iarg ymach, chanel chyffat y Shen. Wellings dyn y marc o Shen Mengyu. Sgym gyda fi ffech gyflwch. Johnston gyda mach. Gwysein go. Gwysein hi dad, agos ha simbli gylion. The Rachel Johnston. Riley, behind the basket. Jachaneshchik o Watson. Eisiau gen y magad iddo, cos y stop o gyda yn y cas yn y Chen Mengyu. Eisiau bal cwmwrs da ha, eisiau na Brogan Hayes da yn y hio, agos e siachat. Diddag siachat ach y hyd, car y môr, y teithio'n go Rangers, agos go Brogan Hayes ach a bwrwngi ach y stop o siachat to the first. And just like that, Emma, we have the first major chance of this game and it falls to Brogan Hay.
Yeah, that's a huge opportunity. I think for me, firstly, it was great work by Watson on this left-hand side. You know, she's managed to keep the ball, play it into the midfield, and you know, maybe just plays a straight ball. For me, that's poor defending from Celtic's point of view. That Brogan Hayes just managed to make a straight run, straight ball, but she's got to do a little bit better for me. She's got to maybe open up her foot and just guide it over Johnston.
Hier, Charim Maha. En Sharon, die Charim Yevatura, Kujak. Brogan Hayes is the Rangers. Fugu the Celtic. Took a lot of Neshjet, Mengyu, a big Shach Atkinson, such a Golka count in the basket. Atkinson's sister, Yahai, Fiach in the Cheval, the Vieg, Shach, Charlie Wellings. I had the plate van a Noshan in Celtic in the hill. Small look for Sarah Harkscott is the Atkinson. There's Chantel Swavey. Kianova Dehill. Anna Henkes go on a mach. Hier Karim Karstik Celtic. Bal had de Shach Shall en had de gloedje erin. Krijgt Timmichel helemaal woks aan de hen. Bal Shach Hayes een fijne countje. Hier Swavey guy in je valaf. Zij Shach het count Hayes. Hij gaat Mengyu tolka ook al een heel. Atkinson groeige Karim is hier allemaal. Is Shen voor de stukje jaar de Westrup. De Hoshach en Watson aan de hands. Is je Celtic te verloren liest. Mag het hier weer goedje meer aan de paadje, maar look at chance. Bal Shachat de Wanneer ik hier naar Shen Tienke Wellings nestje Shen Mengyu die gaat een beetje aan de hand zijn viachen. Het is gewoon. Die naar de ene goeie. Jenna 5 years ago first gerok jaar kwak het cool wel. Just not enough power on that effort from Shen Mengyu there.
No, it's not, and it's fantastic play again from Wellings. You know, just in the opening few minutes of the game so far, Wellings and Shen have managed to link up on 3 separate occasions so early on. So that's something for me that Rangers have got to look at. That's, you know, they've managed to get in. Celtic have managed to get behind the midfield of Rangers and are facing up the defence already.
Ik denk met smaak gekomen met Charlie Wellings. Maar het is zo'n game has je gewonnen goed. Wellings het toch serieus, ik zie fijn je geroen van rated it. Dus Karim go eerlijk over jachten. Ik skip Ekkersen, bal had alles jagen de wand, Voxen, Fran Alonso. Dus nestje 3 tickets te hun game skillen skippen. Zo 3 tickets te gaan. Molin gemassad we gaan. Kijk naar het Paschke de liga gewonnen geblieben. Karim aan de hill. Het is een schiers kaplooi kreeg. Het eerst. Jenna 5 voor krijgen maar de bal. Dus die geren je klooi kreeg aan de hill. Bal kennis jag voor chance. Dus die eerst Caitlin Hayes ja. Fijn je dasach. that seems to be the plan from Celtic for these set pieces, is get the ball to wherever Caitlin Hayes is, and she'll be able to knock it on for somebody else to maybe have a go.
Yeah, I think, and that's been their game plan at set pieces throughout the season, isn't it? And it just shows you how much of a threat she actually is. And we've seen the first corner from Celtic, you know, and initially thought it was a mismatch at the back post with Caitlin Hayes, and Jane Ross was picking her up. You know, Caitlin Hayes managed to obviously win that header. Again, the set piece here, she's won the header, but I think the majority of the teams playing against Celtic know the ball's going to go to Caitlin Hayes, but it's, are you brave enough, are you strong enough to match that header? And she's extremely, very, very good in the air.
Over the years, Brogan Haley, Paul Shechen of Oxford, short as a rat or it. Nisha Craig, agus chance call the Shechen the Itchen of Oxford, agus had Rachel Johnston at Dinamach, agus I at Dinamag at either on the hen, and Yachley York, agus Graham Mohammed of the Val, that's of a soon McGregor Jane Ross of them. Quick tomorrow. He downs the Timmy Hills Val, Connostach, Hashen, Shechen of Oxford, agus Timmy Vance of them. Quick tomorrow. But Jane Ross, agus stay. Tal the Rangers. Habor Machagnoni, Jane Ross a tune agus a wasu in the Tal agus Ishal Shachat in Rachel Johnston agus a skipper Malky McGee, Malky Thompson in Hoshach a shot. Celtic and Johnny Rangers a hoon agus sing Habor Geich minute in the Shach. And just like that, I was just commending Rachel Johnston for coming out to reach that ball at the front post, but she's eventually beaten by what you would say is a good strike from Jane Ross there.
Yeah, it was a great strike. There was only one thought in Jane Ross's mind when she's managed obviously to turn with the ball. She was always going to get her shot off, and it was poor play by Charlie Wellens, wasn't it? She's obviously came deeper to try and help her teammates out, unaware of what's round about her, just played that slack pass, and you know, Rangers pressed extremely well on that phase of play to squeeze them into that corner, into the right back corner, win the ball back. Great finish by Jane Ross.
Zijn Kerf Tuillegje een nooit Celtic in de decency. Tuillegje is een minuutje en ik zie het hasje gegeven van ik hier het game is de league. En de sloot hoorde je ga als het daar een game. En we Celtic 3 Rangers 3 Tuillegje Johnny. Dus koosje een kent maar. De Rangers. Hoe kan je het Alonso. Keer Barak van een skipwekker. Vergeet wie niet wat Tuillegje. Leid maar even skipwekker Toosje goed. Had het jedig Celtic. Dus op het achter die Janef. Fisker duw. Riley het eerst gaat ook al. Dus dan trekken Rachel Johnston en waken Gomez. Nakken Moore en Gomez kan die Janef in je duidelijk waarschijnlijk wel. Jane Ross. Die tiene Magadide, we vast die dacht die trainen zijn. Hier, heel de Jane Ross was lastig de duel, wat gaat er zijn maar. Meister, denk got Swaby, so that's een eerste. Got Jenna 5. Alles dan wel 5 met al graag gegaan naar jou. Dus short schakel, retreat, got Johnston. Just noticed that the wind does seem to be having an effect on that Celtic backline and being able to judge high balls.
Yeah, it does. I think the shout came from the Rangers bench early, didn't it, to Jenna, to try and get Jenna 5 to play that ball earlier, to try and catch the Celtic backline out. And Jenna's got that in her locker. She's got the ability to play that diagonal 40, 50 yard pass and put Celtic under pressure. And it is hard to judge at times, especially with this wind.
Jack Ross. Harks en eerste plitsje gaat vallen. Chance Kuseed van Charlie Wellings. Dus Unie kan jou een eerste echtere. In de laatste got Jenna 5. Kagoene gedaan, Paul Vatte door de shot. Dus die eerste Caitlin Hayes, Jenna Maat, die dacht dat Jenna jarige maakt het PL of Emma Watson. Sen ještě jaká kývnega. Die ještě opět dva skippelde bij Caitlin Hayes. Shot sen ještě verlaadlich. Pikan varak room met je ještě toe aan de paard. Die eerste kan jaren dash. Harks, ma trwy Cymru Lora, haig a chael. Watson, nesje. Siach, go Grant agus a ashe nesje sy loin i gyn. Agus Monkey Thompson i gyrwydd Chantel. Swaby, teithio med as dóin agus a sin a dóprach yn gymagad. Flaggydd ffyddoch si as Demi Vance siach agus gyd ag siachat y ddyfatio tarsyn Caramora yn y sin. Chan i lysach yn ceich o cyndiach as efo Richard Johnston gyda'r sin y dol siachat y ddyfatio tarsyn ac sin fer y diache. Just like that, Emma, I'm not entirely convinced how sure Rachel Johnston was where that ball was going to end up.
No, I don't think she was. I think it was a cross-come shot, wasn't it? But do you know, it was a fantastic forward pass again by Swaby. You know, she's managed to cut between the Caitlin Hayes and Kelly Clark there in the middle of the pitch, and Demi Vance has made a fantastic run down that left-hand side, and I just think she was in two minds. Does she cross it to Jane Ross in the box? Does she get her shot off?
Get up. Stoch gyda di. Smyn i gynnestio o'r corau gyda gol. As yna rwy'n yle. Taid tydig ydda Scott Johnston. Celtic fawolwch y sio. Clark. Diolch gyda'r sys fydd y fawls fall aflish. Agus a Iest Vance sydd fein i gyda hosiach at Harks. Bartle yn estio. Si eisiau fallasius yn ymwyl. Chyd Iest Vance gyda mag as cyn y dash na hwy. Agus a Shane Mengiw ydych hawl. Hij heeft vond ik het asje en Mengiw. Goed je aan hem. Dat is de eerste. Jody Bartle. Sjach, ik is zeer wie jullie de Sattel Sjach voor nog. Het nog heel Monkey Thompson de kunt heel schön gegunig. Monkey Thompson een keer weer de skip weg bouw nog maar de duwshot. Cornet. Agus í tók alt ball siachat tá hé in eiste fiachad is a cúisi yn efyd. Sé yn shorts on the hill agus gwyta gyfil carstan agus ha karst gwyie. Sé yn shorts a sian sy'n cael ulyn an nöt yn brogan hé. Agus sydd gof i sio an náti chunnarstach the Rangers. I think the referee Gary Hanford just maybe suggesting that there was an elbow, hence with the yellow card?
Yeah, there was a connection there. Yeah, she's put her hand up. You know, she's trying to block Brogan, and obviously she's taller than Brogan, so obviously the height of her arms up, it's came across Brogan's face. But it was an intelligent through ball by Cornet. Great run again by Brogan, and yeah, for me it is a foul, it is a booking.
Agus Corman na hill, sy'n mi creu Demi Vance a hadog ag ad. Ball Celtic dish up. Ball siachat agus hesti. I ddiest the Rangers. Ha sin chosoric agus chosioltas ag as. Ha bwrng de Rachel Johnston a chwmar amach agus yn estio. Celtic da hal gynnioni idd gydag idd skipper idd fel yn grwn. De ball cushion y banan yn alabe. Tel soric efo Demi Vance. And you just knew in that kind of position, Emma, that Demi Vance was always going to have a go there.
Yeah, of course she is. I know she's got some good height on it. She's managed to get it over the wall. And there's not a lot of power in it, and it's not right in the corner. I think for me, Rachel Johnson could be doing a little bit better, you know. And she's got a hand on it, just not strong enough. But you know, Rangers have obviously started the game extremely well.
Agus ge ní Celtic yn estio. Carsten Hwyrach, agus bec an stiach yn y game, agus at mar ha. Da hal gynnioni idd gydag. Na naid yn achga. Ach, Gerawig. Hal Demi Vance. Agus cwysyn y dol na siart bwlwch. The Rangers is yn amys achga y lig y fôn chwch yn game a chael. Hanas ach a Celtic ydy fi mag a ddidaf yn y nwy. Ys na cwch fan hyn, had ydy gwyd ymach. Ys na cwch fan hyn. Achas y lig. Van de ring af smach go maar. Skipper Monkey Thompson. Hayes en estje. Eerst wel eens vier en die roet kan niet aan en dan ga ik maar onder naar hoe ze countering in de vaatje. Dus daar bal de vaatje in de heel. if you're Celtic just now, Emma, 18 minutes in, you're playing against the wind, you're 2-0 down. What do you do now?
I think you've got to try and remain positive. Of course, you have. And for me, I spoke about it at the top of the show that, you know, Celtic's season after today is not over yet. You know, they've got a huge game coming up against Glasgow City 2 weeks today in the Scottish Cup final. So I would like to see more fight, more desire, and a positive reaction from the Celtic players out on that pitch today. And especially, you know, there might be some players out there that might not be in the mind of starting in the Scottish Cup final, you know, so there could be players out there that have a point to prove and to get minutes on the pitch and make a positive impact and get Fran thinking of he's starting 11 for the Scottish Cup final.
Game of more ready the Husha for Celtic. Emma Ra, Colakia, Conague, like Glasgow City, Catang Castle.
Second ball, Demi, second ball, Demi, second.
Vance. Agus Jenny Kane for out and Jody Bartle Sulemi. Swedi Jenny Agus Vance and Eshtey le took a room with the Nimmel.
Just run.
Here the Hal. De volgende goede dash. Altijd mag er ieder. Cornet. Via gaan je Eshtey die Emma Watson en weer gestjaagd. Ga hier altijd koelen we. Loine Kien. Vlakke race rate de. En dan zo is het te veel in het vaatje. Die eerst Rangers are shouting. Maar had er zo'n Celtic osgelukkig de zijn niet nog terug naar gaan met haar het game haar show. Hey, Raske toch die eerste de wie. Kassa, wat goed is morgen een goedje de wie de douche in het vaatje. Atkinson en via die Wellings weer gestjaagd gaat kussen. Dit is hij trekken. Jenna 5. Sweepy. Jenna maar die eerst. Dus Lorak in je advance. Ze die eerst had trekken. Cornet. Stjaag advance die eerst. Jane Ross en Jan de Voxe. Het Kienke Ross. En de Savelo leer kaas voor Rachel Johnston. Dus een eerste haar Caitlin Hayes erin vallen. Gevatte die Kira Grant. Want die Hokar Shachat nach die eerst. Rangers die gevaskelijk Celtic. Rangers just seem to be able to carve Celtic open just now.
Yeah, and it's coming down this left-hand side. It's coming from Debbie Vance and it's coming from Chantel Swaby. I think they've been really good in going forward, and I think for me in that occasion, I think Kelly Clark has to stay. You know, as soon as she's stepped out, she's opened up that space for the likes of Jane Ross to run in behind. But the Rangers at this moment in time during the game, it's a big, huge threat down this left-hand side, and I think Celtic, for me, they've got to address that.
Ja, we met daar groot Nicola Doherty die gemaakt te halen naar vaatje. Ha, die Arne de vastklige de douche aan de vaatje. Vaak aan de goede erin houden naar hen. De Fisker, maar onder nog. Harks kan je vanaf Doherty. Sweepy. Eerste Lorak Vance, Shen Scholte over Vance. Watson, naar Bartle, Bartle keer een blaadje hier. En hij de CD bewoner goed. Jody Bartle keren je naar hen, dus je rijdt je naar de lieke low klootje. Je gaat de bal bewoner goed. Dan gaat wel afgehaast voor jou. Goed shit, dat je. Het is Thor. Corne, agus orstú an gona skippi nachcha. Hughes le dahol. Mar haas I géimach an Mocky Thompson wirig til is sin. This is Joey. Mar a Ranger to the decent cha I called game on the night. A lead Celtic agus Glasgow City with mind the nimmerstach in the league. Sin it ar go tooth. The decent sit kus in the sin in este. From Demi Vance nach die eerst. Hij shouting wil Thor woon je netje in de douche aan de vaatje. Zij met haar kunt je met Caitlin Hayes. Die eerst. Kulach in de nul waaf. Ciara Grant agus Demi Vance. Bal de Nash ag an Iachgalí. Agus Fran Alonso mar ymwyd a. Geifach sy'n cort a chwr. Dyn y clychyd ar nege. Mengiw, teithio dwy'n. Hayes. Mengiw, siach fi an y pad gyda chance. Si eisiau gyda fi ymach o short. Skipet, Kelly Clark. Talmashen, an y pad gyda chance. Agus het hydach e. Fein sŵg. Gyda Rangers. Hierst. Diana Westrup. Daar wol nog ook de skipper van Rangers op de la. Dus als je maar gaat ieder van Vance, dat je fijn je vallen op Bartel. Ross, Watson naar Kutjak. Dus Jim Ross die heeft in die hokkale stjach gaat eerst. Je cheeren mag laat, maar die die Emma Watson. It strikes me, Emma, that Celtic's difficulty is that they're coming under intense pressure when they try and play out from the back. And whenever they go long, because of the wind, they don't really claim that many yards.
No, they don't. I think they're struggling at the back to work the ball out into the midfield and then into the strikers. And yeah, I think at times it's a lack of movement from the midfield from Celtic. You know, you can see Kelly Clark was looking to come out with the ball, Shorts was looking to come out with the ball, but it's just that lack of movement. And not just that, I think it's a high press from Rangers as well. You know, they're pressing extremely well higher up the pitch. They're well aware that they're playing with the wind, Rangers, so therefore they're forcing Celtic to remain in their half, and it's putting them under pressure, and Celtic are just kind of running out of options what to do next. And as you've mentioned, when they're trying to play that longer pass, it's cutting it out, the wind is cutting it out. So yeah, they're struggling to get a hold and a foothold of this game. It's, for me, you know, Rangers are obviously definitely on the front foot here. You know, they'll be looking obviously to add to the scoreline, especially playing with the wind.
Alras Grant yn eistedd. Palmas enstiach yn y bocs. Sian y cyn y dash. Ciara Grant yma. Fi sial gwyd yma ha Rangers y cwyd eich clychyd ar yn gyn Celtic. Han i lat y fein. Fiws munud. Anna Lagarde na Fosh Savina to the mount. Give a pick and Fosh and eistedd gyda. They soothed it. Bartel. Eisiau gyda ystach a ddiest. Vance is rad. Ga je de woondag gedash gyda gys Jimichael ar So tri session of the Ian Demi Vance at Jane Ross, the Goshias for UMC, for Caitlin Hayes. Take off the shin. Soon we could be Jane Ross Kerskajord, taking the 50 to the ring. More than a shin. So right to the 30 yard, they serve the Rangers. Die eerste klutje bal in de half. Cornet. Dan rung je gewoon maar een stuk. En je Shannon Janev. Vance. Sjach. Clark. Ga je dus komen doen die zoeg. Ga maar Shannon. Cornet het eerst. Hayes een fijn. Gold te trouwen kijken. Ze stoppen het vanaf. Het is goed om een middag te Celtic in de heel Rangers gediend jaren. Nationals to go. Watson. Vance de bal komt er toch een schaafje Jane Ross in die eerst. De daarna taal lekketje gaan een jesker. De dressive taal like Rangers gaan een jesker. Agus Sula vil game mar ha skunching fuse ye the heat click shot Padky Peter Sula vil game mar ha macha shaluk Rangers 3 Ganyani at Hushach Celtic. I suppose, Emma, it's no surprise when you whip a ball like that into the box that Jane Ross is there to be on the end of it.
Yeah, it was great work from Emma Watson. Just managed to turn out, and Demi Vance, she's able to get her touch. She's not able to lift her head. She's got so much time out in that wide area, and she's got a fantastic left foot. But For me, the Celtic back three are too static there. You know, they've got no idea where Jane Ross is. Jane Ross has just drifted in behind Hayes and managed to get her head on it, and she just has to glance it towards the goal. Fantastic run from Jane Ross, but however, for me, I just feel that it's almost looking, Celtic just really look dejected now, don't they? It looks like they've almost given up. There's obviously still a lot of minutes to play. We're only at the 29th minute just now, and there's got to be a big reaction for me, for Celtic. It's huge, and of course, obviously, they're playing against the league champions at this moment in time, and Rangers are certainly on the front foot. They have been all season, haven't they? They've been relentless, they've been consistent. Today's game's proven no different.
Vonlich Rangers game med jedegreter en skip in the league 3 Kenyani. Agus sin has le tar unje di chluche. Agus ek ge unje. At sa Rangers games de league chriach na gun gau. Fishing up die on die skipper ha kutjach die Janov. Agus at ge die go SWPL ga man trosh. Singe de VP nu is in de ja maar meer de deze nachgesen at was in de games de Gerra route ha Rangers games die Janov ik you. Riley. Ik kan wel een klutje de douche hangen de vaart genestje. Ross. Ja nee. Hoe kan zeggen dat? Carmenestje Clark die dag. Maar wij Emma Rauw naar vertraaien. Klutje in maag van een goal. Goed, je dacht het wakkige pikken. Wellings. Die is zweven je kennen we goed schudden. Dus vallen we wel. Ross dossiers voor puchtigste dream bij Kelly Clark. En dus die is Karim Gaviak Rangers zo bal hoog al is goed. Zijn gevolle schach gas krijg serve dit beham. Dus Rangers en Estje vallen is. Helemaal in de path get broken here. Kennen we ze dat stjaka jaren stjaka. Dan zag het de vast. Door die stokken nog door die cast Timmy Flit. Another good chance there, just Brogan Hay couldn't quite wrap her foot around it to get into the box.
No, and Brogan Hay, when she's coming down that right hand side, when she's facing any defender up, she's always a huge threat. She's extremely talented in her 1v1 situations when she's driving at the fullback, but there she just didn't quite get her cross into the box. She's just obviously managed to hit it out for a goal kick, but yeah, there's got to be a big reaction from Celtic. There's got to be more fight. There's got to be more determination from them. I just feel that they're just giving Rangers at times too much respect.
Jimmy Kutjiken smaken out of the game. The Celtic van Runkeljaar, Rangers aan de hulp, Paulus Jach, een corner in de hand. Unikeljaar, Bartelt smaken in de wel. Hier is Kutje McKeon voor Jane Ross. Gevormd de Rangers er bal nog maar, dus Celtic de wonen voor de dash. De eerste dag kan de wrak Gimmelen zoals vaatje, wordt de wisna goed, dus skipper Fran Alonso. Hier is Gamis het Wellings. Wellings zit in hem aan. Voor oorlog voor Riley aan de hand. Hier is Shorts die dag gevoerd in de bal nog gauw. Geen de naast van Mengu. De nestje Shorts voor Craig. En de week massa wat heen. Zijn nestje die gaat met Shen Mengu. Dus je gaat de boksen. Dus hier is de oorlog voor de skipper de Rangers. Wester voor Raad. En de gunners te vallen haast geta. Shorts kunnen maken zijn bal nog maar. Dus je gaat ook zo Riley kan jaren mag. Watson in vallen aflees nu. Harks. Die technical laag. Dus Jane Ross. Het had dus rijdt dat Kvalikeri zit dit percent. Dus Gary Hanovic Shino mag live. De eerste. Caramille en Rangers. Want daar bal had dat zoals kunnen boksen, had hij een goedje de waar. Maar de strichtje wat zie je hier maar zo. get the heart. That's a can't live Yehu going with the box. Watson called it, sound going with the box ahead. Dal Hayes on the hen. Dias, maar hij kan gaat terug te Celtic. Dias balmaas in. Sjaka Watson. Watson een viagen jaar toch. Dat een val af. Dias Riley if je kan niet. Zien we nog laat bullig voorstellen de duurschog in de vaart etter Jody Bartle against Caitlin Hayes. Do you think there's a bit of miscommunication between the right back of the three and the right wing back, Jody Bartle and Caitlin Hayes? Do you think that's maybe why there's so much space?
Yeah, I don't think there's any communication between either of them. I think on that occasion there as well, I don't think the way Caitlin Hayes was positioned, she wasn't quite ready to receive that ball from Rachel Johnson. Rachel Johnson's got to have her awareness round about her. Is her defenders ready to take the ball, knowing that they're going to be pressed high from the Rangers strikers? And I think it's just a lack of communication from everyone at the back line at this moment in time, including the goalkeeper. It's obviously having an impact because Celtic are then struggling to get out their back third.
Crew game, the skipper Fran Alonso Kutkin. Stand goed in de game als jo. Dus kuusje een hoger gegeven kan Stanley Rangers hebben we goedelijk alle haar show zich hier die dan ook het die garme weg zijn met Gu en van rustig jaar de Jenna 5. Watson en hij Hark zeg. Atkinson in de woorden gaan heel. Natuurlijk om stokken van gaat zuur dit was een schijn. Schijn skunja, zorgje, op broken heen. Toch die is jakke heen die is. Dus alle schijntje dat je willen mag. Dus Zuidemaker heeft dit van het huilen verstaan. Hearing Mulkey Thompson still kind of giving orders to his players, even though they're 3-0 up with 10 minutes to go until half-time. But I suppose that shows you that they're not happy with this, they want more.
No, of course they're not. I think obviously at the top of the show he did mention that, you know, they obviously want to maintain that unbeaten record, but they've obviously got to play with the high standards that they've set all season. Just because they already have the league title wrapped up already, it doesn't mean that they're down tools in this game, especially against Celtic. You know, they're obviously a professional team we're talking about. You know, this is the girls' jobs. They're representing Rangers at the end of the day. So, you know, they've got to continue playing with those high standards. And it's fantastic to see also the likes of Emma Watson getting a start in such a big game and against Celtic as well. And it's been like that throughout the season for Rangers. And you know, they've used the academy players at times very well in terms of dripping them in during games.
Emma Watson can sue us from the academy of the days it's Shohei. You see, the click of as the game has showed you. Atkinson. The eerst. Could you gees naar truth, Timmy Lorre, maar het takers gaat terug, because the game is it. Je kan niet gaan aan de nadem en fouling net give Celtic a bal. Want via de schade hartstikke Atkinson, die eerst. Je vindt koppen trouwtje. Dus Collison, ik wil Celtic het al gedaan heeft. Aardige shot. And Emma, it looks like Fran Alonso may have seen enough, but what do you think? I mean, do they need to make a change now?
I think they do. Having Natalie Ross back on the training field, back on that bench, back on the pitch is a huge positive for Celtic. You know, she brings that grit, she brings that fight, that determination, and she's a senior player. And I think for me that's something obviously which Celtic are lacking in today's game, particularly is having that fight and desire and, you know, setting that tone. And when I'm looking out at that Celtic team at this moment in time, there is leaders out there, of course there is. You've got obviously Kelly Clark, their captain, you've got Chloe Craig, but I just feel at this moment in time they're not vocal enough, they're not helping their teammates, and I just think they're needing help. The Celtic players out there right now are needing help, and obviously Fran's recognising that, and that's why he's obviously sent out Natalie Ross to get warmed up, and I think she'll be on the pitch before half time.
Collison kan je naar die vaart aan, because die Natalie Ross bij the vinge in the hearts. Me and Shakin Haniki Ferra vinge. Stay Unik Mamor and Machagus ha Collis Gorst and the hill at Kirsten Riley. Agus Sulemi get a bullion and a count the Guliki on the hen and they see the Harks. Agus Wallach on the hill the Skip Kochi Rangers and Kenna King Jackavel Kirsten Riley Karst Gadjor. Stidach Gishach het al Suas er schon welke in de naam. Dus gevolgd She Kirsten Riley Hannik en Machas Shen she bulje is missen. Dus Shen het of the Celtic pick on Anna Legal. Obviously Emma, this isn't a sight that we want to see. Luckily Kirsten looks like she's getting back up just now, but this could be a good moment for Celtic just to try and regroup. I know there's only about 5-6 minutes till left till half time, but it could be just what they needed.
Yeah, I think if it was for me, I'd be wanting my players over at the touchline, speaking with my manager. You can see obviously Kelly Clark is leading the chat in their little huddle there, as is Chloe Craig. But for me, I'd be looking over at my bench, and I'd be looking at my manager, I'd be looking at Fran and looking at David and thinking, can you come over and help us? Can you get the girls in together? They seem to be doing it themselves, but yeah, it's great to see obviously Kirsten Riley back on her feet. I don't think there was anything, it wasn't deliberate from Hearts there. You know, she was entitled to go for a header there, but she's obviously just been late and followed through. But great to see Kirsten Riley back on her feet and looking obviously to resume back in the game.
Jacob, je mag gaan aan. Kolle die groenvlieg er je met er is gachstuv. De waarlijk wasco, ha mag gaan aan te sturen. De Shen route bij Galorju, vlieg je er zo'n koen aan ten kutjak. Dat de dorst. Dus Rachel Johnston het ik in Ash dood. Ze hebben het ook al de eerste. Tegen de gele. Taatje Pieter Sil. We zijn de Faber Rangers, maar hij goed kan de goal. As the has shot. Watson. Cornet, het als je is, ik is een bonus gezet dit. Ik zullen wel Demi Vance al jagen je de show die eerst. Demi Vance have a goal here.
No, I think for me, I would be wanting to get a right footer on that, especially with the wind, wouldn't you? You would just want them to bend it in towards the goal, and you can see obviously it's going to be obviously Demi Vance that's taking it, so it's obviously an outswinger, whereas you've got the majority of the Rangers players then setting up at the back post, so it's almost like the ball's going away from the goal, whereas if you've got a right footer, you're wanting that swinged in on top of the goalkeeper and have the players running in towards the goal.
Stochen, daarnaast Greshen en Gerard with the Hachris. They must have heard you, Emma.
They've heard me.
Cornet Maha, Shach. Je dacht Gerard with the way, maar je dacht gaat er wat dingen aan. Dus gerokkige Shach, Paul Skunjel, was je wat Chelsea Cornet. Because just nobody taking the gamble just to get on the end of that.
No, and it's the setup, as I've mentioned it, it's the setup of the Rangers players at that set piece. They're too far away from the goal. The ball's almost just outside the edge of the box. You'd be looking obviously to come closer. There's no need for you to be standing out at the pin of the box at the opposite side where the free kick's been taken. You've got to come closer towards the goal. As I said, the wind's there, the wind's going to carry the ball through towards the goal. Therefore, your runs are then closer towards the goal and more of a threat.
Bekken winnetje in Kaljeunje. Ergens absoluut goed Celtic vaartje hier de Shane. Het kan eens de goal Schach. Dit is met 3 tuigen Rangers. Dus kan koersen nog al koud dismissen. Dus maar gaan eens jeetje maar zo kun je bieren komen doen. We gaan naar voornacht morgen af. En dan gaan we in de show. Chance van af. Ik heb hier Schach Mengu. Haswebi aan de hand. Ergens die eerst. Gemaakt waardje. Van de goede tijd. Jamaica. God joh, nog eens. Goed kijken. Niet is hartstikke doen gekje. Dus die is verkouden van de heel. De chance kan weer gestach. And Celtic haven't really got up to this end of the park much, but they really need to be making more of these chances while they can.
Yeah, they have, and I think it's just
Chance has done extremely well. You know, she's managed to travel 35, 40 yards with the ball at her feet, skipping by 2 Rangers players, and it's just her final pass is just obviously not quite there, and that could the fatigue be setting in, especially with that long drive and run. But they've got to be better in possession of the ball, especially higher up the pitch. Celtic coming towards obviously the end of the first half, they'll be wanting to finish it on a positive matter.
She had Rangers a hacket as Celtic shining Yenif. Hey, the Ashen Eshtico Grant. Doherty, Gahokal Shach, Jane Ross and the Hen, had the Yargamach, Kelly Clark, Woodilla. And the corners the fall off Kata. The East, hey, down to Jimmy Hill with other boxer. Can have a huge shorts. Shach have worn after Annika Jane Ross of the East. So the East, Chloe Craig could have broke tonight. He's coming to chance who for Nicola Doherty is in Sattel Jach. So the East trokken hey Shelton. How kan er zo goed te zien wie Jimmy Hill in de molle boxen. Hij is bal naar Skunja look at the Jach. Wellings, je maken ze ook al Jach het Doherty. Doherty. Dan als je zie je tel dat je heen. Gary Sue dit dan heel eentje goed door. Dus vlieg maar Hashen, het is Nestje Atkinson. Kan weer eens Jacka Wellings hier kan hem Celtic in de Savalug wat Jenna 5. Het is goed dat ik Shen dat we naar gewonnen voor te Celtic. Die gaat goed maar zo goed als de Savalug Hashen wie wat Jenna 5 because the game gewoon maar 3 kan je niet de Rangers. That's a huge save, Emma. Just on the cusp of half time to keep Celtic out.
That's a massive save, isn't it? I think for me the fault came from Nicola Doherty, you know, when she's out on that touchline there.
That will dent Celtic's confidence, you would think.
Yeah, as I was saying there, I think the faults came from Nicola Doherty. You know, she's on that touchline, just deal with it. You know, it looks like she's trying to win the free kick. She's trying to be clever. She's trying to obviously hold possession of the ball. You know, just knock it out for a throw-in, defend the throw-in, and she's managed to give it away. But that's a huge opportunity. You know, it's a clever wee ball through. Wellings has taken a fantastic touch. You know, and it's just kind of a running away from her there, and she's put under pressure by Grant. Still managed to get her shot off, but fantastic save from Fife.
But door van de bal terug, je kan klicht daar ze bij de Celtic Charlie Wellings. Hij is een heel kan de tijdje in het heesense. Goed toch hier tijdje tegen je zijn. Ach met de ha Rangers haast 3 kan je niet het hasjach gezien. Ga voor Keesel zo'n hier die zo ik pas die Pieter Sil. Doherty die is nou ik kreeg. Als je het keren jou, kan dan ik zien van Karsten, Brianna Westrup, Grant. Ik ga zien dat het is, zo'n hier die. Als jij me meer dan daar skipper zo dan SWPL hun is op het game met de Jan Krikke zo de Rangers. Jane Ross kan goed het hasje. Als jij pikken winnen. Hij leed zonretje, ga je zeggen dat Rachel Johnston is deel. North en Demi Vance leed zuid wat te mooie boksen. Mr. Goed, Jane Ross en North en het dresif taal de Rangers have hakkelen Skip Ekersen. Maar vatte het gede op het Dianef. Ik leeuwje, ik Fran Alonso. Agus is daar na die, maar hij het kreeg nog een chance hier die. Het Celtic is Rangers, Celtic en Johnny, Rangers 3.
Tá flecht Alistair agus Emma be a G-seach san a dash son a chiad son a darnally ach an is ach leúneach sí dulach chléinge bh skippa bodan ich Montrose agus bhfuil háas an idirgáil fat season gun game a chaáil a sé bhíh an championship ma hua a bhuanachuig agus a dal suas gun an SWPL a gá. Héit de dánig an ceirh lá fichad dhéanige play, dáhíle sa gá harichad sias an an echtrí bodanig Montrose. Ach an scílach achga a dolidáis grún blianich an runna sin.
My involvement really started with the club back in 2013. We had only one youth team and the manager had left and my daughter was in that team and I thought the team can either fold or we need to build up and try and challenge. Obviously Forfar were a very strong team at that time, so I took on that job, and my aim was really to build the pathway, and then as my youth team came up to produce a women's team as well. That actually ended up 1 year ahead of schedule. Ailey Reid, a player coach here, came back from Dubai and took a job with the Community Trust, and she created Montrose Women in 2017. So that was 1 year ahead, and then my youth team fell in, and our pathway's behind that now as well. So that was a great achievement to get us onto our women's team. And then 2018, the team actually got promoted from the second division. That was our youth team had joined at that time, got promoted, and then we had a good season in 2019 in the first division as it was at that time, and then COVID took over. During COVID it was a bit frustrating for us. We actually appointed a new manager a week before lockdown. So Craig got the job, but never actually even got in the home changing room for almost a year. So we've had 2 years of this project to get to this today.
Ha skippe boddenig Montrose iddyn rwy le yrys coersnach Montrose.
Montrose Community Trust firstly launched in 2012. There are many examples of our type of organisation affiliated with football clubs. We put football to good use in changing as many lives in the community as we can. And within that is a grassroots football department. And the female department in particular has been established for quite some time under Michael's guidance. And there was an unmet need in providing a pathway into adult football for these women. So we took it upon ourselves in 2016 to explore the concept, the idea of a women's team, and the rest is history. They say it's gone particularly well. It's been a lot of work by a lot of people. Michael Smith in particular wears a number of hats. You'll see him operating as the first aider in the dugout today. He's the chairman of the women's section, and he's a coach too. So great credit to Michael for everything he's done for female football in the town. But Craig, our manager, and his coaching team have kicked this team on to such an extent that they're now considering themselves a professional team, and we're certainly trying to treat them as one.
Mark Clubber, a skippe bal cosche Montrose iddy vi chod caithgal donna boddenig. Agus had iddy a goblet colla dis an nurris is on gino peenjach gewille te fadak en kuyonen, die skippen en fair.
We're a very community-based club, so for us it's really important that everybody in the town and around gets access to football at all levels, and we've got a really strong, girls and women's sort of pathway right the way through, and the women's team was the obvious, end game for that. And the football club board, the men's football club board, were really keen to try and support and give access to the women to get access to facilities such as this, which are probably second to none in the division that we're playing in, and even going up into the SWPL 2, the facilities here will be probably better than most that we'll go to on a week-to-week basis. So yeah, access to sport for all, and we were one of the first teams to sign up to the Her Game 2 movement as well, so in Scotland. So it's just really important to us. The facilities are great, but it's just showing a bit of love and tenderness to them, and just saying, well, look, you're part of this community club. We really want you to succeed. It reflects great on Montrose, and right the way through the years, Montrose has been heralded as a great example of a community club. I mean, the trust has won numerous awards, and we're members of the European Football Development Network, which is phenomenal for a wee Angus club like Montrose to be part of that network. It's fantastic. So yeah, just making sure the girls know that they're a really important part of the club has been, I think, a vital part of the success this season.
Eith ballom yn y hyd skippe, a boddenig Montrose haast Daniel, gus corman an a bal cosche, a horst de chwaniad sy'n arche.
We lost, unfortunately, our 14s team during the COVID period, so that's something we're keen to rebuild. But we've got 2 teams operating at under 10s, we've got an under 12s, we've got an under 16s team operating as well. Plans for the future are really to complete the pathway, because obviously the team are heading to SWPL 2. It is a high performance environment there, so we're looking to bring in a development team as well. So the local ones who maybe just don't quite make the SWPL 2 team still have an option to play, so that's on the cards for next season, for that to come in.
Le bal cosche eike chdi, a yrys coersach Montrose in sas yn y tor jiffer project yn eilet on the ski there. agus a lán fis ag na búil is go cuachach so dúte gan spórs a bhí son taich a horse gan choirsnach.
It's a powerful tool. Football has the ability to reach, engage and positively influence people, for me, in a way like no other. And we deliver 34 programmes each and every week here, engaging with just over 1,000 people, tackling some of the key inequalities that exist in the town, whether it be unemployment, mental health, poverty, food insecurity. But football's our bread and butter, and we are competitive people, and we still like a trophy. Participation rate's great, engagement great, but we love a trophy, and we're absolutely delighted by being able to see the women take a trophy to win a trophy for the club, I should say, today.
Mar a bodden ich Montrose sa rafachal far na parke son imach bliana. Yn bliana sa eith na parke gan yel seis an ila either vi colochdis.
We set off on fire, I think. Once we got going, we were on fire and we were just performing at a very high level week in, week out. I think the cup final had an impact on us. We lost that cup final to Dryborough. And it did take a while, and then we had a few cancelled games and teams unable for facilities, etc. And so it was a bit challenging until we got back. And then we got back going about February and got back into the stride of things. And that. So they've done remarkably well. And to go the whole season with only dropping points at Inverness, a 1-1 draw up there, it's just an incredible feat, to be honest. Not something I thought we would do throughout the season when you looked at the fixtures and the travelling. But for this actually to get here, to have the potential on the last day of the season to be invincible in the league, is just an amazing feat for the girls. And it's down to them. They work incredibly hard. They're an incredibly talented bunch as well.
Smarshin, sa yeme yede yene deze, een nurig een mighty mo ug al fat season, gun game a chal.
Absolutely amazing, absolutely fantastic. So proud of everybody. It's been such a hard, long season with COVID and all that, so absolutely brilliant to finally do it.
Oh, it feels incredible. It's been a long season. The girls have worked really hard, and I think they just deserve it, and to be called invincible for the season just makes it even better. But the performance today was brilliant, and yeah, it couldn't be with a better group of girls and coaches.
The girls are absolutely fantastic, you know, we get on so well together, we help each other, we pick each other up. You know, absolutely brilliant bunch in here. You know, best team I've ever played in. So, you know, we've got each other's backs, we help each other, and it's just absolutely brilliant.
It's been a long 2 years. It's obviously because of COVID. We played 4 or 5 games, then we had to play again. So the season got cancelled. Started again. We lost a few players. Rebuilt again. We had the heartache of the cup final, but we've been superb this season, and obviously the record doesn't lie.
Honestly, he's done so much. He pushes us every week. He pushes women's football as a whole. He wants it to be the best level it can be. And I think he just believes in each and every one of us, and that makes a difference to the squad. It makes us all feel together. And without Craig being here, I don't think we'd be anywhere near as successful as we are today.
I mean, 4 or 5 years ago I didn't know anything about women's football, to be honest with you. You know, I played senior myself in the men's game, and when I came in and I seen the technicality and how hard the girls worked, I started to really appreciate what the game was, and I'm trying to push it on. Just like all the other teams in the league, I must say thank you to all them as well, because I know how hard it is to build the game, and we're going in the right way. And the club's been fantastic. You know, they've given me everything I wanted, everything I needed, and hopefully today pays them back a wee bit.
Heich Jadonich yn ceir of la fichet jengepling, da vile sig a harichet sies an een echtri boddenich Montrose. Sin yn la for a jachat fat season, gun game a chal.
Miawlneach Orison Katera Montrose chdiachdige desan kan chawl sa league agus at gedig SWPL ga agus sa tiwn yn eistedd asgo park feature syl agus skipele ha canvas the league chdiach na agus unish game a chawl agus si at Rangers ha 3 third canyoni at hoshach agus Emma Vlack calling them. Emma, Rangers got off to the best possible start really when you think about it, and Jane Ross doing what she does so well, and This is a great goal.
Yeah, it was, and we spoke about it. Like, you know, Charlie Welling's just unaware of Jane Ross's presence coming in towards Kelly Clark, and there's only one thought in Jane Ross's mind. As soon as she doesn't even have to look up, she knows exactly where the goal is. You know, it's a tremendous turn, get her shot off, and for me, and Rachel Johnson still trying to scramble across there, not getting there.
You can see the frustration there from Rachel, but the next one was a foul on the edge of the box. What did you make of the foul, first of all, and you know, the resulting free kick?
Firstly, it was a fantastic ball through from obviously Chelsea corner, just her awareness to play Brogan through, and Brogan's obviously trying to come on the outside of her, and I think Shorts is well aware of where she is.
Is that a red card offence?
I think it is, I think it could be. You know, it's definitely up there for a talking point. You know, Shorts has had a wee look, she knows Brogan's here, she's lifted her elbow, she's lifted her arm. Yeah, it could potentially be a red, but you know, Demi Vance has obviously stepped up. For me, it's a good free kick. It is a good free kick, but I think Rachel Johnson could be doing better there, you know, and there's not a lot of power on it. She's managed to get direction, the ball over the wall. It's not quite in the corner. She's almost got a hand on it, just not strong enough.
And the third goal to really seal it for Rangers in the first half, Demi Vance has been so lively on this side of the park, and then to Chelsea corner as well. But Jane Ross just getting on the end of the header, as she's done again so often over her career.
Yeah, it's a fantastic run from Jane. You know, she's checked her run out. She knows exactly what she's going to do, and Demi Vance has got, for me, too much time out in that wide area, hasn't she? She's managed to take her touch out her feet, lift her head up. Jane Ross has checked her run, came in behind Caitlin Hayes, and she just has to glance it towards goal. Puts her team up 3-0 in the first half, and it's nothing that Rangers don't deserve. For me, they've been on the front foot. It's been a real champions performance so far in the first half, and I'm expecting Celtic to come out with a little bit more fight, more desire. We'll more likely see Natalie Ross on the pitch. I'm sure she'll bring that to the Celtic team. And, you know, we spoke about it. Celtic have got a huge game coming up in 2 weeks' time against Glasgow City in the Scottish Cup final, and you know, there's cup final places at stake here. There could be potentially players out of contract.
Yeah, it could have been so different for them, because they had a chance at the very end of the half to go in with a goal in the bank, and then maybe with the wind as well in their favour in the second half. But again, Jenna Fife with a great save from Charlie Wellings.
Yeah, she's matched it well there. We spoke about the situation with Nicola Docherty at the side there, but great first touch from Wellings. I think if she puts it anywhere else, either side of Jenna Fife, it's a goal. But you know, in Jenna Fife, she's not had anything to do the first half, except from that save, and just shows you how high her concentration levels are. You know, she's switched on, she's aware of the dangers coming through, and as Charlie Wellings has taken her touch in the box, you know, Jenna Fife has come off her line, she's closed down the space.
One crumb of comfort that they will take is that they're playing with the wind, so that if the Rangers press continues as well as it has in the first half, they will be able to go along and get a wee bit more yardage than they were able to get in the first half.
Yeah, you would expect them that. You would expect the wing backs from Celtic, Chloe Craig and Bartle, to press higher up, given that they've got the wind behind them. I'll be expecting obviously Charlie Wellings to look obviously to make those darting runs in behind the Rangers back line, and I think we can see what looks like Tegan Bowie maybe coming on also.
Yeah, Cholocolos Ancavel, Fran Alonso with Gillior Echin, le Tegan Bowie, agus Natalie Ross, Kujach Kitchened. Agus Hieshing Kianavik Tidach and the Dick von the Gere Vaffiker, Sean Murdoch with Koga the Hatchenye, the Celtic. Agus Bick and Molu McGeady for Fran Alonso, the Natalie Ross. Hannig for the Vingen, like Hart to me on the Shachkan, you can say Kien for the Vingen, Shaw Kujach. Agus Kutera. Agus Bowie in it. So Leshen, Chloe Craig had in yet. Agus Leshen. Garavakul Chloe Craig at in yet, and not yet Tegan Bowie. Agus Shinkishal and Esche. Agus agus Darnley agus op het woord het hasach het Celtic maar het is een kale je mag ze game ha show agus Rangers te karsten hoor het verwacht een Esche van de league kreeg nu kunt game goud agus met ha pikken we ook spelen met een blokje Celtic. Bewika Aker agus she harks at the legal show van een noshing. agus bhín an ábhras go good seo id muin neachlí. Harks, steach a díist, Corm Kailte. And if there's one thing you want to start off a half where you need to really get something from it, it's not a corner that goes directly out of play.
Absolutely not. And you know, Hearts is very, very talented in her set pieces. You know, that's disappointing. You know, you've got a huge threat. Celtic have got a huge threat in the box. You know, they've got Kelly Clark, they've got Hayes, they've got Bartle there. You just have to float it up, get the ball in the mixer. You know, allow your players to go and attack it, and that's extremely disappointing.
Maar ha hiu go bhfuil Celtic na satí huas a fáidge agus go let it chumas ballach greimach chumar a ball. Get mar ha sin, hat the ball chaal agus a díos Jane Ross a fichtim for tucht agus dream va Kelly Clark agus hy Delaine Cornje van a rate to the shot. Wordt de hele korte die Fran Alonso. So die is de gachades hier dit en agus zitten we kere Sheneva Gary Han Vidgerson era die Kelly Clark. Kus je shen agus had toch een jaar. Chance de kommer att stöj, jag ger det här schachet. Och vi igen shen. Doherty, Gish Timmy Lora, jag ger den dash kunna skip it. Nu rutte ha, nu Celtic is daarna die shot, check die in. Ja, Arsenal en Zulen. Shots, Tune the follow the Ross. Kutim Ross, agus Kus Kutim. Agus Tien de Hele. Jane Ross, Scholte aan de hen. Gary Han wil jullie kallen je game al kata. Gerin wel winge Celtic. Stoch Gary Karstwie aan de hen. Corm aan de hel. Chance tre. Idem de Voxe. Wellings is a Voxe. Kujak has Mengu. Hij kan je neshika. Havor go Wellings. Agus die bal ornach na ga. Het altijd cool of Charlie Wellings. Ach, bishen na wish nach de Fran Alonso. Die is Celtic viagen die goedje aan de bekken te Gavak. Maar niet zegt ik wel. Het was hoerig, maar goed te maken. Het was een goratsa Bartle dossiers. And it's been a feisty start, Emma, to the second half.
And that's not something we've seen in the first half, wasn't it? And I was actually expecting a game like that. You know, obviously, you see Kirsten Riley there getting her hand up and making a strong challenge, and then obviously Demi Van's just clipping the heels of Bartle there, and you can see Bartle had a little kick out there, didn't she, towards the end? But you know, this is a great chance from Celtic. It's that forward pass, using the wind to their advantage. It's something that we spoke about at the beginning of the second half there, and they managed to get in behind Rangers. It was obviously just a poor cross into the box.
Chance, it was Harks. She's with the Walker shot. Collis said Harks Gary had to go. Some with a Voxa shot, Dolka Jekus a beat. Chance. Gida, she is Sproloch. Jenna 5 because he took him with the Walker of Alva. Agus Garolik gemacht. A good attempt, but straight in the throat of Jenna 5.
Yeah, Jenna 5's not even had to move, did she not? She knows exactly it's coming. She's bending it round the wall and she's just standing. She takes it comfortably there into her. But no, it's a better start for Celtic, isn't it, in this second half? They've obviously shown that more fight, more grit, more determination, and looking to use the ball better when they're in possession.
Hey, you see she be Jane Ross' shach. Cornet. In de Mulavoxe. Sanko corner to head out. It's Harks. En je Falav. Bowie. He if een Jach McCunyev. Because mine you could have. Ross. En you see. Kom maar wel, zoals ik gaan schenken de vaatje. Doherty. Die dag stochen veel met Barakronien. Ross ligt die Timmy Lorre. En de Bowie jugus short. Doherty, bal kunners te geschakken of ook die is Caitlin Hayes zoals le count McCunyev. Hayes y ddiwys gyhwgal. Celtic diolch byg yn rhagwyn i Sian. Chwysyn oedd Sian held. Lifid ar Sian. A dŵl ac yn stoc o Charlie Wellings diolch o dylygyd Sian. Gus by Celtic sy'n fal chwmal ac i llawn siog yn y ffaith y fôn o'ch gydash fel Rangers gael sgiflt as y gas. Fial of dlwy, ys y ffydd stand hal o'n hyn. Chwle ticket i'r eich gysyn y gêm ys y. Ffaith i Peter Sill. Yr ymwneud a, ond y hio ysga Playoffs Championship na halata. Inter yn R3 ys Queen's Park na Petraia. Ffac yn affwrwng dy Celtic chwle ys yn R3 mae'n hadyd i fi cian efo sy'n Gemel yn achge ag y twy i dy desens y. Nishen chafwr na chyle dasgu fe ffalaf yn y twy diwch si at Rangers i hydde fi gen yn y siar. Gyffwlysach. Al dwy'n siach yn y bocs a Hayes yn y hen. Agus hannig y sŵag i edrych ffa'r sylwm i cael Nicola Docherty ifan. Agus fi blip van an Ocean ex-Celtic. 6 minutes in and we've already seen Celtic able to keep the ball at this end of the park a wee bit more than they were in the whole of the first 45.
Yeah, their use of the ball has been better so far. They're playing forward passes, they're looking to turn Rangers, are putting them under pressure with those forward passes and certainly using the wind to their advantage.
Harks the ball was Shach. The issue Hayes on the hen! Agus Hestay! Caitlin Hayes, Uadilla. Fein Suas ars de cawn agus ga stiúdas ga hwgal siachat y Jenna 5 agus a Celtic it came with that shigal a siach in the game as Celtic a hoon Rangers a 3 Caitlin Hayes a thirst avioch to skip Fran Alonso and we mentioned her Emma in the first half that she was the target for these set pieces and it's come to pass and they've profited from it.
Yeah, it's the type of reaction that Fran Alonso would have wanted from his team there, and we spoke about the first set piece, didn't we, at the very beginning of the game, and I felt it was a mismatch with Jane Ross picking up Caitlin Hayes, and Caitlin Hayes won her header on that occasion. Again, it's the same, it's a set piece again. Caitlin Hayes is drifted to the back post. She's up against Jane Ross. For me, 9 times out of 10, Caitlin Hayes is going to win that battle, isn't she? And she's rose well, and we've seen Caitlin Hayes score many goals this season with her aerial threat. And it certainly gives Celtic a bit of hope in the game, doesn't it? It gives them a bit of confidence, especially with the way they've started this first half, and they've certainly been on the front foot.
Westrup, y clach cydiolas diachus y gêm o hoc yn gwybbegan, agus ha bawl iddo gol, gydach iddo'r cwl o fy sio, ys y spiddish. Celtic yn ylad ar ffydd, sy'n bawl tidig, to the horsig ymwyr ha. Wellings, dash yn esdi, got Bowie. Cornet ga yarg amach, ha Wellings láitid gyda, Mengiw ga yarg a dash, Wellings on the hill, Wellings! Saflwg sgynial fy Jenna 5. Cymar y hwyd y croch yn y sien cys y chwmal amach. A sbiolwg yn y cas yn Celtic yn eisiach at Jenna 5 for the game o chwmal ag 3 cahoon. I'm not entirely sure how Jenna 5 has managed to keep that out, but she has to keep the game at 3-1.
It's a fantastic save, isn't it? It's just our reactions there. You know, it's great play from Celtic. Charlie Wellings obviously reading the ball well, just allowing her to drift across her body, get her shot off. But you know, Jenna 5's matched it extremely well. Managed to get something on it and push it out for a corner.
Natalie Ross with a finishing. Rashin got Mengiw. Mishnach yn eistio y misg Celtic. Dronnig y fan gaf ys hyd ach had y ffannach unmer gyfel wwtig yn awn ys y gêm hasio gaf yn eistio. Agus mae'r y be, Jenna 5 gêm wyd yna. Gybyw Celtic ys y gêm hasio, saflwg cwtramach o sien. Ag gydag y hyd agus sien saflwg chymas hyddi fi eich gan yn nhw'n i ffata. Fod Charlie Wellings mae'r ymwyr ha yntal gawn y daichyd iddo desyn sy. Cwtiach gyda dwsan tyrlein ys na coed gemel yn mygydig eich gemel na oferain. Chi bec yn hiach yn tyrus mygydig chai gemel yn tyrlein. Agus chyd y gael gyda grwtig yn eich sydd i'r a. Bwa eich iddi gemel sy'n haast. At sy'n hysing. Saflwg a sien i ddies. Diach gargos diach agos i ddies ha. Chanil aster ffat sy'n fian. Idir Charlie Wellings agus Jenna 5. 5 Jenna wobedd fiarach gos skip eich gyw chwma da hol y thosiach. Shorts yn eistedd, Chen Carca dit a chwr shorts i Hayes yn eistedd, dal fatel eisiau sio, I gamas y chance ach gyda cwsau y bal y hwcal eisiau gw. Agus ydi eist. Yr hysing fan y sien, ha gw. Cwrtaich the Celtics lieha sio. And I know we've made quite a lot of it, but the wind is certainly helping Celtic in this because it is blowing directly down the pitch as well. It is directly behind them.
Yeah, as it's going to help them here. I've played many games before here in the past, and I know the effects it has when the wind's with you. I know how difficult it can be at times when the wind's against you. At times when you've got the ball, you have a look up and you're thinking, do I play that 20, 30 yard pass when the wind's against me? And you don't, and you start to hesitate and you dwell on the ball, and then that's when you make mistakes and it filters through to the team. Whereas at this moment in time, you know, Celtic have obviously got the win behind them, so they seem to be on the front foot at this moment in time, and they're certainly using it to their advantage. For me, Rangers, however, they won't panic. You know, they've been in control of the game so far, obviously up until now, and they've been obviously consistent in their games, and it won't affect them at all. You know, Rangers will regroup, they'll try and get possession of the ball again, build up the passes of play, get the ball forward, especially getting Jane Ross on the ball for me, and especially with that number 9 position. She's extremely good at holding the ball up and bringing her teammates into play.
Blysigus a chlychio na hio, at Chantal Swabi. De goshias tiach bwyle met een neuten. Strooin gorstoche, is een bal kapol gan hen. Is Marky Thompson tiach le fachkel cordje, de Christian Riley. Tiach mo hele stoche roet na gas kerstige. Is Celtic kude braki bi de skipvekke. Neva is hietli. Is Dies. De Brian interkachel aan de lijn in het Celtic. Cushion Gemanis Korstag af is hier tussen minuut. Gaan daar naar die show. We zijn maar vechten wel. Chantal Swabi het Erika Kassen. Korstad chain. Nou duiten. Gehar in de het gafashke de. Ze va chain Giesje. Die is bal fatte van Jenna 5. When ik in Celtic come is Corstal nation a Collis come is Corstal or yes Emma Brownlee maar hebben we daar feed hasach graag de Winge de Marky Thompson goed nog kiezen onder de zille daar je de gedezen stel unje come fatte mag Klitsching Anna Sharp bekan schon Kinet. Hier nog goed schon. Is toch een minuutje meer jedig. En het is een Rangers. Zo had Jenna 5 de bal naar Shane Guma. Ach, die is goed gehokt. Ergens gaat door die Shenfatse wie. Kijk voor Nicola Doherty gezien. Dan staat hij hoe zo gaat Celtic liggen eerste. Dat is waar nog een van Vance en eerste. Het is s'avonds daar je. Je glijtje trotzdem je Vance staat geworden zo hier het. Riley de Tundag snasat. Ergens shears voor Junsi. Voor Natalie Ross. Ergens Karst Boeje. Ergens had Gerak Hug is van Alonso. Karst Boeje. Dan Natalie Ross. Ergens had Gerak Hug is Binge Celtic. Daar krijg ik kuus na de van. Gedoe is Natalie Ross. Karst Boeje schon hier het nieuws. Ik get je kinetic nieuwje. Ergens ja de gloes. Sean Murdoch en Gerrit Wofke. Al twee. Va van Grof. Rachel Johnston tot hier de magische Chenach. Caitlin Hayes het Gergulish. Beetje maar heel. Riley. Ach, die is die dag Hayes rollaatje gie. Cornet. Ach, Bruni smaak hoe de bal. Mengu. Die eerste roga dit kata. Ja, kus Timichel. iad Ciara Grant. Agus ha syddyd go fi shot y Rangers agus y diist. Ha gerac chwch iad Fran Alonso le Cogunion Gary Hanvidge. And we have a privileged position, Emma, to see that Fran Alonso is really quite unhappy with the recent decisions of the referee, Gary Hanvidge.
Yeah, I think if you're going back to the Natalie Ross one, first of all, yeah, it might have been her first challenge, but it was a challenge from behind and she followed through. So, yeah, in my opinion, it did merit the yellow card. And that decision there, you know, Shen's just clipped the heels of Grant, hasn't she? And it is another foul. He maybe feels that at this moment in time that the referee's against Celtic.
Gary na da skipeke in de wocher kusen. Vance, fiachan je die eerst savelug ma. Richard Johnston, Marvin Stiffelte, agus grey moch om alid Ishel. Agus die eerst hier te kro Vance tol hiachan jaar van de Shen. Agus le tikken varach arst aanstokke begeet. Barach de goal aan de harste Rachel Johnston. Agus Westrup kude mal tre at sy he de go shies aan de hen. Agus ha right to the national gestartet the game. Gaan ha Collis. Zullen we het Kasbrogen he gewilli gemaakt gorst on the hill. Agus Fran Alonso aan hen die eerst on the close right that gerin nach hij pulje naar gaan van. Snach ro over ile. Staat te goed in the game. And again, I suppose part of Fran's frustration, Emma, is that Celtic are on top probably in the first part of the second half, and this is kind of ruining their flow in a way.
Yeah, it is, and you know, Rangers are obviously trying to stop the play. They're trying to stop, obviously, Celtic coming forward, and yeah, there's going to be frustration, isn't there? And I think at that stage, at this situation here, with Brogenhagen down, I don't think the ref should have stopped the play. You know, Rangers was in possession, you know. Nicola Docherty was able to turn away and she was driving forward. It wasn't a head knock, but I give, obviously...
I think Fran was making that point to him as well when he came over to check on Brogenhagen.
Yeah, you don't have to stop the play, don't you know, unless it is a head knock. But, you know, it's great to see Brogan back up on her feet here. I think maybe have been a touch of cramp in her calf. I'd seen her earlier during the beginning of the second half that she was stretching, but you know, this is obviously an advantage for Rangers, isn't it? It's a break of play that you spoke about, because Celtic have certainly been on the front foot.
That's it. Well, take for the da who of Corlog. Game of course to the coach stock a pick in the shower and ha could yell it. Agus Collison. Gewil Kila McCoy dolly hin it, Natje Brogenhagen, gewil Fisker Brogenhagen shachet. Agus Rangers could game of Catala the Ish. Celtic had won the hook as a spot chance. Dash Hima gonna skip it. Hayes. Gahokalach Kusse to the Ish to go. Kuffed na her on the hen. Kusse the Hulov. Agus Hikanar who has in Ishte. Remember that. Kila McCoy. It's in it. Natje Brogenhagen. Agus kiesing maar weet Shen aardig. Skippen Malky Thompson. Het er zo gesteld game. Kila McCoy Hannik Rangers staan as a high. Chance. Nestje got Perry. Agus gewoord hier naartoe die Shachat de Westrup. Ach, die is of het waan van de skip dus van Ciara Grant. Perry die is Grant is raad. Shorts. Grant is raad die is. Shen Mengyu laatje het Hashach. Was no Bartle. Is die is. Han hele game de shower de week Jody Bartle de Niskese. Kus pas ik naar Kartlachtbach agus Gunneem. Shen le tal Skunjal got Perry on the hill. Good Natalie Ross. Ik toch akel Perry die eerste. Ik dacht Giori kritieken fiachen je de held aan de hen. Ik zei de God of the Rangers fall of Lisheval. Ik zei de allemaal Emma again Tegan Berry just taking the ball up to the edge of the box there, and it's just almost screaming for somebody just to have a go.
I was thinking that. I'm thinking, you know, you've got the win behind him. I know we'll keep on speaking about the win, but you know, use it to your advantage. You know, get your foot through it. We've seen obviously Jane Ross do it in the first half, a shot from distance that managed to go in. But yeah, I think it's just too many touches in and around the box. You know, get your foot through it. Can you get a shot on target?
Sudet go bhíh Celtic in the rasta kata. Harks sé sé bhú ar uadile. Díos leid Bartle agus Hayes suas a dimmal voxe. Agus Sulemi kan anke Hayes het al hier. Hy het Kjell Heinike. Agus Hanneke suas met jedig far Caitlin Hayes. Agus Díos hy het Gudis Timichel de count de gauw. Gudis pink met een strichje. Chauffeur kar waanje. Waar oude zoals gaan Noorsen. Eerst Hayes gelaatje geen zoals gaan de boksen. Voor wel chance tot jagen pak die eerst voor de gejoord de Jenna 5. We gaan de kormen een keer to Celtic. Celtic certainly creating more of the chances in the second half, and you kind of feel that there might be another big one coming their way soon enough.
Yeah, I've no doubt about that. You know, there's still a lot of time to be played in this game. Of course there is, and it's been a totally different Celtic team that's come out the second half, and it's one that I expected to happen. You know, I've seen games throughout this campaign where Celtic in particular have been poor the first half, and they've almost been a different team the second half, and today is no different, and they're certainly on the front foot. And you can hear obviously from the dugout from Celtic, you know, Fran's more vocal, he's out on the touchline, he's encouraging his team, he's passing on instructions, and we didn't see that the first half, and I felt that had an impact on the players.
Swabby could have battled the makers and flip on a nosh in your shot. Sheldon had to chluit er in the line, it was good mind, it's Jenna 5 and I'm not fiach and this you. Harks, Shach, the Ishach. The Dane you fall off, good it get. Mengu, it was Shach to the first. Goshen Mengu. Agus Hanneke Suag, me jeder verklicht der Rangers, agus had the goal makers and flip on a nosh and you did it. Agus Surt, je gaat het fall off, so was Shane. The eerst, je gaat tune dat zo lastig in de tel. Agus Ornach na gaile, he shing a shot. Je gaat het fall off, so was Shane Mengu. Is Collisan could do it, Danik Suag verklicht der Rangers, Shane. Ach, you have flip on a nosh in Celtic. Dooi, Sjach, doe ook een goede dingen. Ik viagen die Caitlin Hayes, Lorakel, hoe delen. Bal de toch die veel mag het kutkindje afschissen weer. Bowie, je zat je in Ash, de Celtic. Bartel, viagen de wie trekken. Caitlin Hayes, gaat hier Jenna 5 maken, skippelt het. Dus die is toren nog luchtje al. Tro Caitlin Hayes. Celtic kept command slide to it. Jenna using her experience here just to give a hold of the ball a wee bit, just to give Rangers a wee bit of time to breathe.
Yeah, and you can hear the shouts from Nicola Docherty also. You know, she's obviously telling her teammates to calm down a bit, you know, try and retain possession of the ball. There's no need to rush it, you know, they're winning, they've scored 3 goals already, and they want to obviously try and take the sting out of the game and trying to knock Celtic off their perch, because they are in the front foot, they're the one that's pushing, they're pressing, they're creating opportunities, and they're getting the ball into the box.
Ross, gelaatje, mag Hayes. Hayes, de eerste kamer zit Ross, hij gaat Swabby naar hen. Dus vlakke kan je iets rijden, dat was zoals. Ach, en je schenkt je voor de haai aan de laven. Jenna 5. Dus de eerste, maar met dat je dat de straat dat ze gamen, dat guddig. De eerste, schreef de goede nooit, maar dat was Celtic is het hier. Dus die Garasua kerste de zijn van Natalie Ross is een karmars de Tegan Berry. We gaan wel een stuk. Dus goed er nog zeisje de wie. We aan de vaatje, maar 15 wil je dash. Een kloetje. Roscoe, McCoy. Doherty could have broken it. Clark, kennen we. Groontje, Ross. Dus die merk aan de hand van McCoy. Door die Soer, dat je meer nog in de wouw. Berry maakt Kutjak. Sabal Kinukin. Tegan Berry's been a real kind of burst of life into the Celtic side in the second half, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has been. You know, I've been impressed with her this season so far, and her performances have been extremely well. She's played extremely good in games that earned her a call up into the A squad, into her training camp, and she's an attacking player. It's something that Celtic were lacking in the first half, wasn't it? Especially in the wider areas. Can you get someone forward? And she brings you that. She brings you that energy. She brings you that ability to being able to take on players 1v1 and get herself into the box.
Gewoon dat de rolleeg met Celtic en hij gaat hecht de bal bulach kerst in de middel boxen. Hayes the eerste. So Rangers de doodje dag kim na gaat soos. Mag ze die echt heen. Is krijg me gewoon de bal. Nationalist got Clark. It was short. It was Molly for Fran Alonso. Shane shorts. Balmore has sent but Hayes. Doherty at Jerikilish. It was Tidach. Sulemiker broke. Studs. Natalie Rostiach. Merach. Haro. Gonna groen Danica Cheers, Cool, Cass, Kirsten Riley. This that's not intentional from Natalie Ross, it's just a coming together.
Yeah, it is, but I think Natalie Ross is too eager at times to go and make that challenge. You know, the ball's bouncing towards Kirsten Riley. You know, she's not going to go anywhere, just stand her up. No, don't allow her to turn. And Natalie Ross, for me, now has got to be extremely careful for the final 20 minutes or so here. And Natalie Ross, we did say, I did say, sorry, that she'll bring you that on the pitch, she'll bring you that fight and determination, but it's got to be controlled also.
Keeping it in check.
Yep.
Right to the Gary Olagolash Vickham. Doherty. Tal die hele Engelse shot. Agus die eerste klacht in Jolle zegje. Agus boling de baas van de stand daar haal. Door Nicola Doherty. Die eerste Janaki die je gebouwde mag gaan zijn. Die eerste. Marky Thompson die dat stuurde goeien. Celtic laven nu ook graag draastig het hele score. Ach, wie at de dag spikken de werk in het hasje game moer gadide we gaan collectiek en gezet de tolle naar Glasgow City ik Tynecastle aan de koefba afrig naar baan. Dus zijn ik keer de woord in de show BBC lappen. Game me jedig aan de season percussion de baan. Maar wie nog gaat. Oorlog in de hand. Is door je shout aan de hele route in de hartstikke game. Het Christian Riley snapt de Ross in de hele die eerste. Here's Jane Ross kin voor oorlog voor Tegan Berry op het waar. En zijn op Berry, dus hij de Celtic goed. Het nieuws hele, get him as chance to the Gadash. Doherty the eerste. Ross had Bashir's. That's 2 or 3 now that Jane Ross has just, felt something, a push maybe on the back and gone down. And it's just the experience, I suppose, of a player of her calibre to be able to win a free kick like that and take the pressure off the back line.
Yeah, she's very intelligent at that. You know, she's got her hands up. She knows exactly where the defender's going. They're going to come through her. Jane just obviously takes that step, backs into them, step forward, and the player comes right through the back. So it's very, very intelligent from Jane, and it's something that she learned and was coached at from an early age, and she's managed to obviously use it to her advantage throughout her playing career so far.
Cass and skippel to Nicola Doherty on the hand. Short, got Mengiu in ma. Gewoon maar een stuit. Ik denk dat ze speel nog. Want de Cass en Celtic is val af die is een minuutje nog al af. Bal fat als je via die Wellings yr un. Chaswabi de chud a dasgo 5 a chadíist. Han nurring de Jenna 5 ach dédi gylis a chud amach. Siar sin na merach gynnyf y Celtic a chud cwtio mor octa. Chance fi trang ys y lieha sio. Shots fiach yn ei hwcar siachat y loen y gyn. Dyf nag a fyd y fy hasien. Ys nesio y gorym a hyrst McCoy. Trwy Rangers Suez call ydy. McCoy ca iarg y dash gan y ffost y chwl. Ys charwai ffatydd falad ach fa Richard Johnston yn iddo fa cyndig asgroed o siachat y ffost. Ys the goal amach a sian blip van y dyrl. And by the looks of things, Richard Johnston was quite confident that that was going to go past the post, although I'm not sure how far away it was.
I think it was close, wasn't it? It's great link-up play by Grant and McCoy, and McCoy's obviously just, I think the ball's just running away from her, you know, and then narrows the angle down towards the goal, but she still managed to get her shot off. But I think it was actually closer than what Rachel Johnson thinks.
Blísig is a chluiche an the hill at a Chelsea corner to the Goshias. Agus idíist dídach tícna gá. Blísig eile is a game rút ha na over úlach. Is na over fianach an the dói. The skip the coach Celtic. And McCoy stay on the hill agus a flacad fuach sias. Mocky Thompson and Kiro are Gumal is an ocean in the hill. Here shorts agus Bowie. Hoflaag is dat Keelan McCoy. Agus me jedig ha Tegan Bowie de Hushing en Vorre. Bal stay. Ganyan Geranian Rangers geta agus a bal Suas agus Femi Westrip Dedikulish. Hier Shenny Yannick Doherty. Nashin Eshika Swabi. Sashen Ma for Swabi. Hydach fa un pic a chud ar fa Shen Mengiw agus Norsen Charlie Wellings ach chlachgi cwtiolas ys fein ythol agus bal de chwmal the Rangers. McCoy gagar o'ch sias fa Cornet I hyn agus harc sy'n cian colag. Doherty Siach yn estia Cornet agus pic an rŵm eich eisiau gael hwgal Suas gael ffyrdd Emma Watson y blisig ys Siach yn y foxe. Agus Bartle call the agus ha cwtiach agus Caitlin Hayes agus Norsen Natalie Ross a skip for cushion. It's Johnston and Estia could have broke tonight of Bartle. Wellings Chance call the is cool of Olivia Chance. So morgen geeft je Carl Roll bal. Zag er een bal van. But Charlie Wellings at Connors on the hill agus Viest Haro Cora Gown Haro Rachel Johnston is Kelly Clark in the new Rav Clark ga vol gemaakt is Johnston en fijne Carson at the ga Guacame Ross McCoy with Kutimura Next chance to tune Doug's a falav Agus dol iachan iad, agus a sin etien for cawn agus sydd eist. Saflwg ma ha sin for Jenna 5. Agus etien for cawn and look at their Cian. And that, even though she made it look kind of comfortable, that's a good save from Jenna 5 there, especially after quite a big deflection.
Yeah, that's an excellent take, and you know, for me, chances for Celtic outside the box, it has only been Chance, Olivia Chance. It's obviously taken that opportunity to get her shot off, but you know, the game's much more open now, isn't it? You know, and I think for me, obviously Celtic don't have anything to lose, so they've got to flood bodies forward. Can they get more players forward in support of play? But you can see Rangers, you know, they're obviously fighting till the death, until the final whistle. They're wanting to maintain this unbeaten record and have that tag of being invincible this season.
Wellings, agus hi sé fiachan uit by the dyrl ach a diist tydach charo garm y siawr o fewn gi mae rwys doch y cwsro asgydd leine y dyrl agus diist Doherty dyn y matiach agus y pwcht y gymach nes hatyn a sien agus sy'n clynig gyfel Celtic y gwlwch awrach o gile Fran Alonso is aggressive aardige gekken. Kunnen game. En voet geen is net 10 minuten met jeder geschaut paardje Pieter Schul. Is ne 10 minuten het al aan de season SWPL Hoon. Marky Thompson op de deel. In de klicht er nekke, tegen Visha kan kunnen natuurlijk, ga komen wat op. Koi, ga komen al stui. Grant. Die eerst, geen verkouden klaar kunnen stellen mag. And this has been quite the game of two halves, if you'll excuse the cliche, for Rangers, because they were so dominant in the first half, but they've had to really defend in the second half, and that will probably be quite pleasing for Mulky Thompson, who just said to his players, "I know it's difficult, but you know you're doing well."
Yeah, I think obviously the wins had an impact in the game in terms of a game of two halves, as you mentioned. But I think still for me, it doesn't look like, for me, in my opinion, that Rangers are under pressure. They certainly don't seem to be displaying that from their body language, or their game plan. They're still sticking to their game plan, and any time Celtic have got the ball, they're pressing high, they're pressing in numbers, they're still trying to force Celtic into mistakes, and it's certainly still working for them. Their game plan, they're sticking to it, whereas obviously Celtic have certainly come out the second half a totally different team, haven't they? And it's a reaction that both you and I were expecting from them, and as we've said, they've got a big game in 2 weeks' time in the Scottish Cup final, and they've obviously got their starting places available in that starting 11. And we spoke about it off air, didn't we, that potentially there could be players here out of contract at the end of the season. You know, you want to play to keep a contract, renew your contract for next season. So there's still obviously a lot to play for in these final few minutes of this game.
Skip uit mijn haar, Kenye, de Celtic, visgerecht geschacht. Agus Kenneth na haatje, Chloe Warrington. Het Shia had het game een glitje in de dezense. Agus daar we het train kutjak gri Natalie Ross hier nestje de skip uit en haatje Kelly Clark.
Does it come out? What does it come out? Yeah. Up, Jill. Brilliant. Get through. Come on, that's steady.
Ross. Nul nestje Bartle. Bartle fiach in die enkel Wellings. Celtic het kruimig om al dit geta. Sjach nestje ga kusit. En geschieu. Njerake het. Shen Mengius toch nach de smunje. Jejik. De verlooie. Grobal Shen het al hier niet. Nach die eerst. Balde Kassen. Jenna 5. Dus dit is je unieke jaar. Dus kun je te zeggen in de Walde Hasho. Eerst Hayes borne bal in Hashach heeft Jane Ross. Riley kennen maar van goed en wat Tegan Bowie. Dus die eerst keren van Winge Celtic groot 7 verschijnt. Dus Kayla McCoy could mail Caitlin Hayes.
Stay up again. Up and over. Up and over. Watch your channel, Chantel,
Onkel Joren nestje. Ik Hayes bal hug. Ze bal han Gurike Doherty. Chance nestje Tundag. Sjaka Bowie. Shen Mengiu. Sjaka fiach in die Wellings Larakach. Die eerst zullen we krijgen Westerp wat Magunjev. Dus Shen Mengiu die gaat geen Sjaka niet in de kan ze daar die maar ha goed is mooi toch goed er in Celtic. Garomor de vlagdag ze hier die. Ik is met de page en 5 goed. De raast toch begat kujun de show. Maar de ha. Rangers pikken een wark het koik minuten in het half van de season een gleeg naar hun Gaalse league. Dus je dichtele woondigers en hier tussen die even een jachtrie de jachtens gaai. Dus Schaken en Moor gaan glebben. Daar goed te skippen de baan. Ergens skippen de ver. Gevoelde Schach. chance tiwn dag a ddim o'r foxe. Trwy Michael Orra. Bowie. Stiach yn y ffost o chwyd, Bartle, agos a Vance on the hen, agos ha Cwtiach, agos Jenna 5 y ddiysg. Diach yn waia ydd mwyn i fawl, agos y thorste Stratak as y gêm y ddiysg, agos Koski, Dick na gael na hel Cwtiach. And as you were saying, Emma, I think maybe Celtic now realising that maybe the game might be beyond them, but again, they're still creating chances here.
Yeah, they are. You know, they're not giving up. It's Tegan Bowie down this left-hand side, and you know, she's managed to get her cross into the box, but you know, I think Jenna Fife, I think she's done tremendous there, hasn't she? She's not been called on a lot during this game, but when she has, she's matched it. You know, she's been comfortable. But you know, Celtic certainly aren't giving up. You know, they've got pride to play for. They're obviously representing that jersey that's on their back. You know, they're professional players. It's their job. They've got a duty to do so.
Emma, just with the last minutes ticking away here at Petersfield Park, who would you say has impressed you the most in this last game of the SWPL one season?
For me, in today's game, it's Jane Ross. You know, not only just with her 2 goals today, I think she's been extremely influential throughout the full season. I think she's been a huge signing for Rangers, not just on the pitch but also off it. She's been played extremely well today. You know, her link-up play in the first half was really well done, and obviously towards the end of the game she's come out onto this right-hand side, a different role for her, but you know, she's been excellent today, not just today, throughout the full season.
Jane Ross lit daar hul. Ik zei het al jagen spelen aan de heel ach schachet de watje tarsing. Ach als je geen echt in woord met haar daar goed. Ik hier de club ik hier de nationte Jane Ross. Daar we wel hier saar goed te game wonnen goed. Dus Koski Rangers net dikke shot. En is dat niet de watje zal in deze. Núne roiach het Celtic nestje, dat ik een game. Aha, die had de mission gekata. Ik wil dat het toch al oros daar die show. Gevolgschach van u. Na wij voorgaven zich hier. Ach, gaan je zien nu over het drie keer die jedig. Het had toch die eerste tolle. Ja, een kindje die de bal naar zijn mag. Dus Marky Thompson has to stew the cushion. Jidach Fashkit, Jidach game. Marky Thompson, even with 2 minutes left, he's still wanting, still asking of his players. Just again, touching on that professionalism aspect.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that. That's what he said in his comments before the game, wasn't it? That they've obviously they're representing the club, they're representing Rangers. You know, they're league champions. They've got to play like champions and act like champions on the pitch. And Rangers have certainly displayed that this evening today. And for me, you look at Celtic's first half performance, that'll not be a performance that they want to look back on. But they've finished the second half strong. You know, it's been positive for them, and it certainly sets them up nicely for the cup final.
Good Jakov game of more Gadidov. Met alle game smaken in deze nacht. Shane Estje. Ze hebben Koefe League gewonnen goed naar Petraje. Het is een gevechting hier is voor. Ik wil Marky Thompson tot Janne Bauer gegillen. Bal. Gavoor. Daar moet je nog heel. Ergens ha. En Estje Emma Brownlee het al hier niet. Zo'n even net met je te doen je avondstag. Ergens Jane Ross had je een naar haatje. Daar heel lekketje. Je de game has show wonen goed Jane Ross. Krieg mag het ieder weer de deze. Ergens kan je checken of ze bij maar bij Emma ra. En je de wie naar woon naar Polen naar Moor de Rangers. Dat is nou achter die wonen goed. Ergens maar vechtje Emma Brown gedash. Is paardje Paul Kosje. Steun unieke maar vatten. Nestje. Gavoor. Is er nog een heet gelegen. Ach, bij 3 illen. Die goed gehaast. Ergens. Zullen we wel. Beinge Celtic I Geraint. Hayes. For Warrington. Emma, I'm just going to pick up on this because it made me chuckle a wee bit, but when the 3 minutes went up on the board, the Celtic bench were asking if the 1 was missing from the board. But I think 3 minutes is probably a reasonable amount of time, would you say?
Yeah, it was. I think obviously you can hear David Haley questioning the 4th official there, but raising the issue when Kirsten Riley, was down injured. I don't think she was down injured for that long period of time. I think it was less than a minute. She was back up on her feet, and she managed to come off the pitch and back on. But no, I'm not sure, obviously, how many minutes they were actually expecting. I think for me, in my opinion, you know, the game's done. I don't see Celtic coming back and scoring 2 goals in a few minutes. I think although they've obviously had a better first half, Celtic, and they've slightly maybe edged it the second half, I think Rangers they've not panicked, they've been in control. You know, they're still playing to their game plan, even to this final whistle.
Sarah Harks is jaar en Estje kutjak kan misschien wel Celtic stochen gaan we jagen wel een halve keer dat we een nieuwe schon tor gaan jesket. Dus schenkt hij dat minuut geleden vanaf een Estje jedig deze. Estje vanaf lish aan de noord. Je woont heel lijn de dash. Skifed. Estje zag wel Kelly Clarke. Natalie Ross. Shach got chance. Harks en Estje vanaf lish. Nulke Bartel. Bartel ik jarige dash is Jach en Estje got Harks. Is gaat ook Ross. Garo. Natalie Ross fast gejoord. Zeer Harks gus. Grey mijn je de wel gus Sandgen en Nosh en hulen toe. Je Kila McCoy is shot. Kun je maken dat voor Shane Shorts. Had toch she is voor Unity. Warrington gehokkel soos go men giu ach die is Westrup agus Doherty op het maak Conlach. Bowie Jack is Jack in de box ach die is Jenna 5 tuchtje met de bal. Agus gute Kreshene gaan het skipje naar Shaw's League. Agus dichtje in de dakal. Agus Rangers 3 gehoon het hoshach. Hamen Alvarez gloinching feedjak Gary Hanvich. Shen Gadide vashin gloinging. Season SWPL hun het kinke count the shot patki Peter Schill to Celtic agus the Rangers. Agus she at Rangers het kinne bar shot fisker you 3 tal gehoon. Ach getjera hat de hoshi Celtic ravasi hier leva 3 gnoni het gedug. As je hier le hoe dat tel de asjes darde ach het is in de Fran Alonso akal mishnachal. Dus Brianna Westrup het na skipper Rangers het al gun gaul is de league in het hesense. Dat zijn de kloje der in play het live kagele. En dus ha nestje de manager Bill live het kagele. En dus Mielonach voor Fran en McCritching de Mocky Thompson. Gaan aan de waan schon de ach schon de deze kutjak. Jenna 5 gok kutremach. Hadden ze de nisker. She goed de rastoge gum. Rangers het hoshach. Lita havlug meerwillig. Varach het savlug naga ille. Vakka ma kutremach. Agus voor de Rangers forsgal in estje as is een achkesen schachet. Agus game more kutremach het hoshach het Celtic haast gaan collectiek. As een kullige get er shows Lorsen. Er schon Illinois Glasgow City schon een darne toe schachke in de decense. Die City kan we zit 3 skifje in het jalletje. En 3 doors in het jalletje aan de Paul Cushion de baan aan de lave woonlijk. Richard Johnston. Gekrieg de hier het season kerstekje maar vaart de skipper Celtic. Críoch na go seo, is I méidir Celtic agus Rangers an SWPL a hún, Celtic a hún, Rangers a 3. Agus a gá, yw sé na cían fa Jane Ross agus clunish yn eiste, ishe Colin Michael.
Jane, congratulations today. That's a league season unbeaten. How does that feel?
Yeah, we're obviously very proud of that. I think to obviously win the league first and foremost is fantastic, but to go the whole season undefeated, yeah, is something that we can definitely be proud of.
We saw both sides of your game there today. You scored a couple in the first half, but then you had to do a bit more of the dirty work in the second half. How was that out there playing?
Yeah, I think it was probably a game of two halves for us, to be honest. I think first half we were very clinical with our chances and obviously went in with a comfortable cushion at 3-0. Second half, I think the wind made a big difference to the game. They could potentially say that for the first half also, but I think we found it difficult to get out and it made it quite a scrappy second half for us.
You came in at the start of the season and people were expecting goals from you and also experience. How have you handled that pressure? Is it something that you've enjoyed?
I mean, yeah, I've just come here to play football, to be honest, and obviously, yeah, it's been great to be able to contribute with goals and to help the team with my experience also. But yeah, as I say, like I just want to be here and be enjoying playing football.
So this is the end of this season, looking on to next season, Champions League football and the defence of this title. Are you up for it? Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, it's definitely an exciting time to be a part of the club. As you say, Champions League football is definitely something that we have to look forward to, and yeah, we now go into next season, obviously looking to retain our title.
Congratulations, Jane. You are today's player of the game.
Thank you very much.
Mialonach Corusha Katera agus Mialonach gyda Rangers a ha i the league of all agus ha gynchawl is y league cwtiach agus mae'r Michael yr i Jane Ross yn hen cwtiach a cent the chlychau is a Champions League i the na heisan. Agus Emma Black, it's an incredible achievement for a Rangers side to have gone the entire league season without losing.
Yeah, it's a tremendous effort from them, especially obviously given the competition that's in front of them, you know, knocking Glasgow City off their perch, you know, stopping them getting their 15th title in a row. That's tremendous from Rangers, and obviously they've had the competition from Celtic as well. And you look at Rangers' season last season, you know, they underperformed, they didn't achieve anything at all, so they knew this season was huge for them, and they knew they had to get their hands on that league title, and doing it unbeaten is tremendous.
And looking at Jane Ross, who won Player of the Game, she scored 2. Demi Vance was a close one as well for Player of the Game, and she scored another one, and they were all great goals, really.
I think if you look at all the Rangers players and their full squad, and you look at them as individuals, every single one of them have had a tremendous season, and they've played as a team. I think that's the difference. They've not had to rely on that one player each game. Everyone's performed at the highest level they possibly can. You know, it was great to see, obviously, Rangers will be happy to see Demi Vance obviously completing the season, given her serious injury that she had last season. I think that had a big impact on the team also, and she had an assist today, and she obviously got on the score sheet with her free kick. But every single Rangers player in the squad this season has done extremely well, and that's why they're league champions.
And Celtic also got one back, and you know, it didn't go their way today, but they'll be much pleased with how they played in the second half compared to the first half.
Yeah, the second half obviously was much more better from them. You know, they were playing with pride, they were fighting, they had a bit more about them in terms of obviously looking to play on the front foot, putting pressure on Rangers, and they'll be certainly looking to put that second half performance and carry that into the Scottish Cup final.
And it was a great Celtic goal that we've seen from Caitlin Hayes quite often, that she is the target player in the box from set pieces.
Yeah, I think we speak about it every game we comment on, isn't it? That Caitlin Hayes is a huge aerial threat, and today was no different. We've seen it in the first half. I know I've mentioned it already, but it's a mismatch for me that you've got Jane Ross picking up Caitlin Hayes at the back post when you know exactly that's the player that we're aiming for. You know, she's up early, she's up first, and she's managed to get on the score sheet again.
And just quickly, Emma, it's really exciting that Rangers are going to be in the Champions League next season as well. That's something really exciting to look forward to.
Yeah, it's massive, especially given the investment that Rangers have put into their women's team. They had to have some sort of return, and I'm sure Malky's already preparing for Champions League, but he's probably already hand-picked players that we'd like to sign in preparation for it.
Emma, thank you very much for today and throughout the season here on BBC Alpha. Taflat Emma Black agus stiachchun Kine gyfil syng gyfi ag Tynecastle yn y gwrt jednach an y cwch benhalapa i'r Celtic agus Glasgow City collegia gwn y diw yn eiste ag ceddwyd yn Fisker biol o sio idd BBC Alpha.
Wel, sin chafór fwyinga y sio y diw idd BBC Alpa an sy'n SWPL hyn. Agus wel, chafór son seis yn eile. Taff balisha son fi coed colodding agus bisinga dash mara savage son barach fo Priaf League ban Halpa. Martian live yn drasta.